I thank the gentlelady for that. Let's see. Next, I believe we have Mr. Carter. You're recognized for 5 minutes, buddy.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you to all the panelists. This is certainly important. But I have to tell you that I've got concerns. The proposal that we're looking at now puts nearly $100 billion to fund broadband build out. And the emphasis is placed on policies that lead to overbuilding in already served areas and on government run networks. We've heard during this hearing about existing examples of cities that tried to build out their own municipal networks and failed after spending a significant amount of money. Having cities which may be able to sustain a network, build out government run systems can lead to additional strain on local budgets. I too was a mayor at one time, and I know what a strain it can be when you don't plan for the maintenance, for having to upgrade and those type of things. And that is a problem, a concern that are a problem that's often made with municipalities. So it is a concern for everyone. And the proposals that we've seen in this package focus on the idea that throwing billions of dollars at the issue will address the long-term needs of our communities. But I'm concerned that too much emphasis is being placed on pumping. I'm concerned that too much emphasis is being placed on throwing billions of dollars into overbuilding and not enough on long-term sustainability. Dr. Ford, I want to ask you, these proposals that are focused on injecting billions of dollars into communities without the notion or any notion of overbuilding or long-term sustainability, what kind of shortcomings do you see in maintenance here?
Well, I mean, if you build these networks, they're going to require, with government money, they're going to require more and more and more and more government money over time. I mean, we spend $80 billion a year maintaining our broadband networks, the private sector. You don't get out of that. As Congressman Curtis was talking about earlier, they are very, very demanding of finances. And so you're going to be talking about this every year, how much money you're going to raise.
How much does it cost to maintain a system like this? Any idea?
Oh, I don't know what the embedded capital base of the network is, but I mean $80 billion at least for nationwide. So I suspect it's probably 10-20% of your capital base a year.
Exactly. And how are cities expected to pay for it?
Well, normally they'll ask you for it, which is the first task.
Raise electricity right there. They'll ask us for it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, and in some cities that have municipal electrics, they'll raise the municipal electric rates. That happens very, very often.
Right now, the private sector's investment we've seen in broadband over the last 20 years has been in excess of $1.8 trillion. And the ISPs invest 3 times as much per household than the providers in Europe do. My understanding is that each year the ISPs in America are applying about $80 billion into keeping these networks up to date. That's just to keep them up to date, about $80 billion. But the proposals that favor municipal or government-controlled broadband seems like there's an expectation that it'll provide a better outcome. Dr. Ford, do you think that government-controlled networks are able to deliver better broadband?
Not in the long term, no. I mean, there's a lot of evidence that that's not true, and it's the long term that we're thinking about here. I mean, this is not a 1-year process. This is a long process.
Well, let me ask you, are there any examples out there that you know of where government-owned networks failed or had to be transferred to the private sector?
Oh, there are very, very many of them. I've written about quite a few. We talked about them in this hearing. There's a long, long list of financial disasters in municipal broadband. And it's not like somebody else is paying. These are taxpayers that are being forced to pay the cost of those financial failures. This isn't voluntary. This is coerced participation in a financial failure.
I tell you, again, in my experiences as a mayor, I was a mayor for over 8 years, and I can tell you that this is just the type of thing that gets municipalities into serious, serious trouble. and this is dangerous. I hope that, you know, we do everything we can to encourage the private sector to be involved in this and to get out of their way and let them do what they do best. And thank you again, Mr. Chairman, and I'll yield back.